Thank you, Mr. Director. Again, my name is Richard Manus. I serve as the Chief Deputy for the Moore County Sheriff's Office on behalf of Sheriff Fields. I'll report to you this afternoon that our investigation continues at a very fast pace. Sheriff's Office investigators, along with our partners in the FBI, the State Bureau of Investigation, continue to leave no stone unturned. We're looking at every angle. Our tip line has been very, very active in the last 24 hours. And I'll remind citizens that they continue to call in at 910-947-4444. That is a recorded line that they can leave an anonymous tip. It comes out to all of us in investigations, and we're able to get those tips real time as soon as they're recorded. And I would encourage people to continue to call. And our investigators, again, continue to work very, very long hours. That is about all I have at this moment. Nothing really new in the development stage to tell you other than to say our guys are working very tirelessly. I appreciate your time, and I'll excuse myself.
Thank you, Chief Deputy. The county update, as you know, the state of emergency remains in effect for Moore County, with the curfew still in place from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. We know this curfew is inconvenient for the citizens of Moore County. We want to thank all the citizens that are complying to this curfew. The emergency shelter remains open at Moore County Sports Complex at 155 Hillcrest Park Lane here in Carthage. Last night we had a total of 54 citizens stay at the shelter. We have sufficient space for citizens to come and stay, come and charge their phone, come and take a shower or get warm at this. If you need any additional information, please call 910-947-6317. Currently, we have shower units set up at the Moore County Sports Complex. It is operating from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, we have two other additional places that has shower and laundry units set up, and the locations are open from 7A to 7P. First Baptist Church in Aberdeen, 700 North Sand Hills Boulevard. First Baptist Church of Pinehurst, the address is 7373 North Carolina 211 West End. Meal sites started today, offered by Baptist on Missions at 12:30 to 2:30. This is a pickup option only. The locations are 503 North Sand Hills Boulevard, Aberdeen, 155 Hillcrest Park Lane, and the Southern Pines Fire Station on Highway 22. The address is 7850 North Carolina Highway 22. Since the power went out on Saturday night, 911 Center has dispatched law enforcement to approximately 655 calls related to the power outages. Fire department has responded to about 115 calls, EMS about 100 calls. These types of calls include suspicious circumstances, burglars, which were fire and alarms, business checks, welfare checks, citizen assist, carbon monoxide alarms, and traffic accidents. This morning, Moore County Public Utilities was made aware of Taylortown having issues with their water system. Moore County Public Utilities responded to assist them this morning. There is a boil water advisory in place for citizens in the Taylortown Water District, not Moore County Public Utilities. Let me rephrase that. Taylortown water system customers are on a boil water. Taylortown will be monitoring this situation, and updates will be forthcoming. By tonight at 6 p.m., Moore County Public Utilities and Taylortown should have the system fully pressurized. At this time, I will turn it over to the Chairman, Nick Paserno, for his comments.
Thanks, Brian. Good afternoon. I've spent the day riding around our county. Before I thank all our agencies, our law enforcement, and there's so many agencies I won't even start. I just want to talk about the community, how it's come together, our churches, our merchants, our vendors. Everybody's joined together. I can see why we're having such an enormous growth in Moore County. Everybody wants to come here because people around here genuinely care. They reach out to their neighbors. They look after each other. And I'm so proud to be one that sits here and actually been born and raised not too far from where we're standing right now. So the people of Moore County, my hats are off to you. We're so proud of you. Keep up the good work, and thank you, Duke Power, Duke Energy, for your commitment to get our power back on. And whoever the perpetrator is. I can assure you, I hope they turn the power off in the cell they put you in. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, County Manager Wayne Vest will have comments.
Thank you, Brian. And again, thank y'all for coming again today. I said Sunday, you know, it's very heartwarming to know that everyone's very interested in what's going on in Moore County. And, I said we're very resilient. We've proven that time and time again since Saturday evening when the power started going out. It was all hands on deck. It continues to be all hands on deck. And it will continue to be that way until our power is completely restored and our citizens are made whole. County operations, we're slowly bringing those back online. For the most part, our county operations were functioning today. Some folks were working remotely. Some folks were working in other buildings that we had that did have power. The early part of the day, Duke Power was making headway and got power restored into Carthage. Most of our facilities are in Carthage. So we were able to get those buildings back online. And as we move into tomorrow and Thursday, it should be more business as usual. And I just want to, emphasize something that Chairman Paserno said. We've been out in the community today, and we've had probably almost as many offers for assistance as we have requests for help. And that says a lot about our community. It says a lot about coming together and the spirit of togetherness and support that we have. It's just a tremendous feeling when you're out and you see all of the people coming together. We went through, as far as patience and kindness and understanding, all you really have to do is just go through a couple of intersections. Some of the ones at US 1 and 15501, people, just coming up there. And it's a small sort of snapshot of what our people are capable of doing. A lot of times these intersections are backed up for, half a mile or what have you. But just to see people with their patience, waiting, treating everything as a four-way stop, like I said, it really is reflective of the character and the characteristics of our community and the community support. They're very kind and patient with each other. And just thank you to the citizens for that. We really thank you. You make the difference in helping us get through situations like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vest. At this time, Jeff Brooks, Duke Energy, will give an update on Duke's progress.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me start by just echoing the words that were said. The community has been incredibly resilient, and the kindness they have shown to our employees has been noted and appreciated. On my way over here, I was coming out of our operations center and had someone bring something up to drop off for the crews. So we appreciate that, and obviously we're well provisioned, but continue that kindness in the community. We appreciate it. As far as updates go, we've had a good day. We've worked hard. We've gotten some good progress done. You recall that we were able to bring down the initial 45,000 customers affected on Sunday evening by 7,000 to about 38,000. I'm happy to say that today we lowered that number again by about close to 3,000 more. So we're down to about 35,000 customers who are without power currently. The good news is we have communicated up to this point that we would expect the final customers to be back on sometime later on Thursday. We have made very good progress today and are moving that estimate up to Wednesday night, just before midnight. So we will hope to have all customers back on by then. Now, that will not happen all at once. That will happen in phases. This is a very complicated process that involves equipment that has been moved into place and installed. It's there, but now we're going through the process of calibrating it and testing it and preparing it to synchronize with the electric grid, which is a very complex process. And so tomorrow, when we begin to begin restorations tomorrow evening, if all goes well, that will be a very manual process as well. So you will see waves of customers coming on, a few thousand at a time, so that we can safely restore power to the grid as we work to get everyone back on. But the crews are working hard. They're working 24-hour shifts. I was out there last night fairly late with the crews, and their spirits are high. They're working hard. They understand the importance to this community. Many of them live and work here, so this is personal. Obviously, from an ongoing investigation standpoint, we continue to support the Sheriff's Office, state and local officials, as well as federal officials in investigating this attack and resolving it and finding those who are responsible. We have also been working in the community to try to do what we can to help as employees and as a company. We announced yesterday that the Duke Energy Foundation made an initial support grant of $100,000 to support the needs of the local community. That involves contributions of about $20,000 each to the Red Cross, the Sand Hills Moore Coalition for Human Care, the Boys and Girls Club of Sand Hills, Moore County, the United Way of Moore County, and the Northern Moore Family Resource Center. We will continue to work with groups like the American Red Cross to find opportunities like this. We do recognize that this has impacted more than just convenience. It has impacted the lives of this community. And we stand with you in this, and we'll work to restore this till we get every school back up, business back up, and home back up. And for that, we've also been communicating to customers to keep them informed. We will continue to do that throughout the process and provide updates, of course, to our local media and others to keep the public informed. And we thank you for helping to share that message with the community.
Thank you, Jeff Brooks. Our next up will be Dale Lambert, CEO of Randolph Electric. They did have customers out, and so I'll let him give a status of Randolph's operations. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Brian, and good afternoon. This is my first time to be able to be with you to give you an update. So I told Brian I was going to take a few moments of personal liberty to offer thanks to a number of people that have really been instrumental in our effort. I'll give you an update on the status of our restoration efforts, but there's some people I want to thank first. My prayers each day has been with our members. We're an electric cooperative. The members, the people we serve, own our company, and they are member owners, and my prayers have been with them. My prayers have been with the Duke Energy customers who have been affected by this attack, and we also have had our employees, Randolph's employees, Duke employees, and the first responders in our prayers, and we're very thankful for the mercies that have been shown so far. I want to thank our members for we have over 2,600 members that's been impacted by this event. We have been working around the clock for restoration efforts on a temporary basis. Obviously, our transmission delivery is still down, but I want to thank our members, and I'm going to have more to say about that in a little bit. I'm going to give you some examples. You've heard about some of the good things that's been said about this community. I'm going to give you some real examples of things that we've saw. Just touch on a few things that this community has come together on. I want to thank our employee team, our contractors for the work that they've done. They've been very creative in trying to restore power on a temporary basis, a limited basis, but a temporary basis to our members. And I want to thank them for their efforts, all that they have done through this. Chief Manus, I want to thank the Sheriff's Department. When the event started unfolding on Saturday night, immediately the sheriff responded, and we have assets throughout the county. We serve mainly the northern part of the county along with Duke, and we have assets in all parts of the county, and they responded quickly, and we thank them for their efforts. I was able to thank several personally on Saturday night. Chief Manus, if you'll pass our thanks on to them, I would appreciate that. The North Carolina Department of Transportation allowed us to close a road. It is a main two-lane thoroughfare that really goes from the northern end of the county to the southern end of the county, and it's pretty heavily traveled. They allowed us to close that road for us to build a new three-phase tie that I'll talk about in a few minutes. That was instrumental to have that road closed for safety for our contractors and employee team for one, but allowed us to be able to do the work in a much more efficient manner than having to also implement traffic control. I'll say this pretty confidently. I was out there with them last night. We energized that section of the line that was constructed at 11:45, and I will tell you it would have been well into the day before we could have energized that line if that road had not been closed. So we were able to deliver power to about 1,200 of our members in the Seven Lakes area because of us being able to get that line up quicker because of the road closures. And I also want to thank Duke Energy. This event started unfolding on Saturday night, and early on we were in communications with Duke, our contacts with Duke Energy on the transmission side. Talked to David McNeil early the next morning and their relationship manager, so we would know what's going on. We've been on calls with their CEO, Lynn Good, Kendall Bowman, North Carolina president, and we've been joined together in this effort to try to deal with the events. I'm going to call an employee out, Sam Stevenson, who is our contact with Duke Energy on the transmission side, and he, when we needed answers, when we knew this was going to be a multi-day event, he got us the answers we needed. So as we put our plan together, we were able to respond in a very efficient manner. I also want to thank the other responders in the community. We've had a lot of assistance from the fire department personnel, emergency management. All these are involved. There's a lot of people that's making this effort come together, and I just want to thank them for all the work that they've done to help in this response. So let me give you an update on where we stand as far as the restoration effort. We served more in the northern part of the county. We were able to bring 2 tie lines from the northern part of the county into serving our Eastwood substation and Seven Lakes substation that were impacted by the outage. We had a line in place that needed some upgrades that had not been in service for a couple of decades that we were able to pretty quickly bring online on Sunday evening and start restoring power to our Eastwood substation. That's the main substation that taps off Duke's transmission line. So that delivery is that we did a reverse flow back through the distribution system to energize that transformer. We have 3 other circuits out of that station. What we have currently going on right now, a lot of times the industry, they talk about rolling blackouts. We are calling it rolling power-ups because they're out of power, and we'll energize it for a period of time, de-energize the line, and then pick up another circuit. Our goal is to do that on a rotating basis in a 2 to 3 hour manner. That's not always easy for us to do because we've done a lot of temporary work to make this happen, but at least the members have power for a period of time. And I'll follow up with a little story about that in just a moment. So that is occurring at this very moment. We have our personnel at that station, and we're going through that rotating basis. We had, and we could restore about half our members that are affected by the outage through that effort. The other opportunity we had a section on Murdochsville Road that I mentioned earlier that we needed to build a whole new line to be able to supply our Seven Lakes service area and that whole community there. That's about half the people that are affected by the outage. So yesterday we had crews that started on that, and within a pretty short period of time, they were able to build over 2 miles of heavy construction to pull a three-phase line through there. We had to have right-of-way crews. There were places there were no line. So we had right-of-way crews cutting right-of-way and line crews coming behind them setting poles and pulling wire. So that effort happened yesterday. That was energized last night at 11:45. We started picking up our Seven Lakes substation that was affected by the outage. And as of probably about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning, we fully are serving that development. There is no rotating power-ups going on there. They have service that's been delivered. And now both of these deliveries that we brought in to serve our members, they're not capable of serving heavy load. We're very fortunate, and I think Jeff will agree, that the temperatures have been pretty mild. So through today and even last night, that's allowed us to serve some load. We have asked our members to conserve, and we continue to promote that message. Those that are affected by the outage, the more that they can conserve, the more members we can serve because of the limitations on the import of the power into that area. So that's what we have going on the restoration side. I want to circle back to our power-up rotation we've got going on. We brought that up and said that's an option that we're going to try to implement. I had someone outside our company tell me that was not going to work. And I said, why do you think? We knew from a physical standpoint it would. Why would you not think that would work? He said, when you restore that power, and you have to turn it back off, they're going to be very upset, and they're going to complain. And I said, I think I know our members better than that. So we started that process, started working through that implementation with our plan, and moving through the rotation of the power-ups. It didn't take long for comments to start coming in that says, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, that I can have power for a period of time. I am willing to have my power de-energized so my neighbor over in the next road can have some power too. So our members have responded with this thankfulness that we can have power for a period of time, but you know, I'm happy that my neighbor can have it too, and I'm willing to sacrifice. So we appreciate the response from our members and their willingness to sacrifice so a neighbor can have power too. We are asking members to conserve. I mentioned that. We had members that were, we've been heavily communicating with our members directly through text, through email, through phone calls, and we give notification. We try to. It's not foolproof. We try to give notification when we're going into the next roll of our power up. But we had members located 40 miles away. When they found out what we were doing, we had members located 40 miles away that contacted us and said, if I conserve power, will that allow you to serve more members in Moore County? Physically, that did not work because obviously they're not even on the same substation, but they were willing to sacrifice to help our fellow members. We had a gentleman that came to our site, our staging site this morning. He come in and talked to our team there, and he laid a $100 bill on the table where we had some food there for the crews early this morning. He laid a $100 bill there and said, give this to somebody in the community that's suffering a lot more than me. And this gentleman had been out of power. So we just appreciate how the community has come together. I'll say this, for Duke Energy and us working together, we've been joined at the hip since this event has started. We've been engaged with them. I got to tour the substation today at West End to see where the progress had been made, to get an update on where things stood and when we were going to be able to, get delivery. And I thank them, their crews, for the work that they were doing to be able to energize that line, because they've done a great job, and all the work. That's a very complicated and detailed process they've gone through, and they've done a great job. And, it doesn't matter what name is stamped on that meter, what logo's on the meter on that wall outside these members and customers that are affected. Because we all have the same goal, and it's try to energize these lines, because at the end of the day, we have little kids that are getting into bed at night cold. We have moms and dads with a new baby trying to figure out how to heat the bottles. We have elderly people that are trying to survive another day. So we're just trying to work together as a team, and we appreciate all their efforts. We appreciate the efforts of our team, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. This time we'll have Dr. Locklear from Moore County Schools. He will give an update on the school's status.
Thanks, Brian. Good afternoon. I'm Tim Locklear, superintendent here in Moore County Schools, and I want to echo the things we've already heard. Appreciate all the support and collaboration that we've got from our county, from our state, and from our community. And certainly appreciate the support we've got from our community, for our students, for our children in our community, and for our parents. I also want to take this opportunity to quickly thank some key staff members in our school district who have been working tirelessly over the last couple of days to make sure we're prepared as possible to come back online once we have power in our schools, and certainly encouraged about what we heard today from Duke Energy. I want to specifically thank our technology team, our child nutrition team, our maintenance team. Our technology team has worked to make sure we've got our technology servers, communication processes up and running. Our child nutrition team and maintenance team together has worked to move foods out of freezers at our schools that don't have power to ensure there are places that can maintain that food and have that available for our children and staff when they return to school. I want to thank them for that. And of course, they got to do the reverse once we have power in those sites. And want to thank our maintenance staff for making sure our schools are ready to open up and monitoring those constantly. So again, really want to thank their dedication. We're grateful for those servant leaders. We sent communication about 30 to 45 minutes ago out to our school community that schools will be closed tomorrow, Wednesday, December 7th, and Thursday, December 8th for our students. We will have, it's closed for staff tomorrow, Wednesday, December 7th, and we're very hopeful to bring staff back to work on Thursday, December 8th. And our goal is to resume normal operations on Friday, if at possible. So again, I want to thank everybody for their support and collaboration, and we look forward to having our children back and our staff back as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Locklear. We will close out the presentations with Senator Tom McInnes. After he finishes, then we will go to a brief question and answer session.
Thank you, Tom McInnes, North Carolina Senate and Majority Whip. Honored to represent Moore County in the North Carolina Senate, and this event has caused a lot of things to happen that we didn't know about at the time, and that is, of course, that we can all work together and we can come back with a common goal of fixing a problem that has never before happened in the history of Duke Power in this area of North Carolina, for that matter, of North Carolina. We just met with Lynn Good, the Chief Executive Officer of Duke, at the site, and had her out from her office in Charlotte, went over all the things that have happened, and my shout out goes to all the employees of Duke Energy and Duke Power, because they have done a fabulous job in making this happen in adverse conditions because of the things that are in the world today, the supply chain and all the things that we're short on. So my hat goes off to them that they have brought together their team to make that happen. I also want to recognize the Highway Division 8, NCDOT, who rose to the occasion in the middle of the night on Saturday night. When this event happened, they were called by Patrick Malamphy, the Division 8 board member of the North Carolina Department of Transportation, and they sent out trucks with lights, with employees to get on all critical intersections. Now, had that not happened, I can tell you, folks, there would have been loss of life. There would have been a lot of problems, been a lot of damage. And these men and women operating these trucks and these pickups and these vehicles with the lights on have showed that people need to slow down and pay attention and make sure that you move safely. And then finally, I've looked at the rules and the regulations of what someone could potentially be charged with when the culprit is finally brought to justice on this particular instance. And one thing I've learned being in the Senate, that sometimes our laws and our penalties are not parallel or equal. Sometimes they've not been brought forward and brought up to modern standards of the things that are happening in our world today. And so we have the folks in the General Assembly and our law firm team there, our law team that works for the General Assembly. They're looking right now, and I'm reasonably confident there will be new legislation that will be brought forth in the long session to address the potential that, again, the crime and the penalty need to be leveled and evened out. So with that, we'll leave you. We thank you all for being here today. We thank you for your coverage and everything that's gone on in this event to let our people know what's going on in the community, and we're thankful for the free press.
At this time, we'll open up for questions. Yes, ma'am.
So for the 911 call, you said there were mass calls. We've gotten tips that there have been fatalities in the county. If so, how many? Have they been related to the outage?
There have been no fatalities from automobile accidents related to the power outage. We do have one case where a citizen did pass away that we're trying at this point in time to validate if it was related to the power outage or just a normal medical condition. But at this time, I cannot confirm or deny that individual case. But there have been no fatalities related to automobile accidents.
Was that citizen in a home that did not have power?
That citizen was at their residence, and they were in an area that did not have power. Yes, ma'am.
If that person is deemed to have died due to the state of emergency, will that charge then be declared murder?
That would have to be determined by the FBI, SBI, and the Sheriff's Office and Attorney General when they find out who the perpetrators was that did this. I do not know the penalties for that at this time.
Is this considered an act of terrorism?
That will be defined by the FBI, SBI, and the Sheriff's Office and Attorney Generals in due days.
A few days?
Yes, ma'am.
Within a week?
I cannot confirm that or the time frame because I don't know the portion of the investigation that they're at.
Thank you.
Question for Duke, consumer question, if you can, kind of two-parter. Do you know at this point if customers will have prorated bills because of the power they didn't get? And number two, the cost to repair everything, get everything back online, is that part of your budget, or will that ultimately be passed along to the consumer?
So let me address the first question first of bill adjustments. You know, our bills are based on the energy that is consumed. So with the energy not being consumed, there would not be the per kilowatt hour charge that you would experience for having used that energy. So
possibly lower bills as well around for them?
well, for the days that there's been no power consumption, we certainly wouldn't bill them for power that they have not consumed. The second question, remind me the second question again, I'm sorry.
Ultimately, the cost to repair all this, get
Right.
everything back online, is that part of the budget, or could it be something, I don't want to equate to the coal ash situation, but something where down the road, consumers would have to pick up the tab because this was not expected?
So, you know, at this point, we're focused on getting power restored for customers. Certainly, you know, there is a cost to that, but that will be visited at a later date once we've moved beyond, you know, this particular operation. Certainly, we are working to get power on as quickly and safely as we can, and so we're going to take the steps to get that done.
Jeff, I got a question.
Oh, done.
Okay, two questions. You've been able to advance when you were going to put everybody online by a day, but some of that is temporary, sort of a patchwork temporary fixes like the mobile substation that you've got to mount. So the major equipment that needs to be replaced, how long until everything is, how long do we have a permanent fix?
Well, you know, I think as I've mentioned for the last couple of days, we've been exploring multiple repair paths with the idea of getting as many customers back up as we can. Some of that involved using some temporary mobile technologies, but for the customer's experience, the power will be restored, and then we will look for a way, if there's any additional switching that's needed to put a temporary piece back to a permanent piece, that can be done. All that work can be done without notice to the customer. You know, I don't know yet if there'll be a need for a brief switch over, you know, off on, but that would come at a later time once anything else is done.
Okay, so different kind of
Okay.
question. I don't know anything about substations. I think most people in this room know anything about substations. But the guy or guys who shot up these two substations, given where the damage exists, your sense, did they know what they were doing?
You know, I think that will come out through the investigation. Certainly, the individuals who committed this attack were able to use their weapons to disable the substation and create the outage. So, to what extent that was skilled or not, that's for investigators to determine and to figure out. But certainly, our priority is to get the power back, and then we'll have plenty of time to figure out all the specifics.
But were your guys convinced that they hit the spots that they needed to hit to take it down?
They hit the locations that created the outage. So, you know, take that for what it's worth there. Yeah.
Jeff, I know you said that this is going to be a phased approach, and you said you guys are pretty much ahead of schedule. What parts of the county do have power? Is it southern part, eastern part? What is that like?
There are certain parts of the county that were brought back on. I know Carthage, I think, was some of the areas that came up today. And tomorrow it will really be based on the engineering design for how to bring that usage back up in sequence. So it's a very manual process. So right now our engineers have been working at our control centers to figure out which lines to bring on in which sequence. If you saw Apollo 13, you remember the movie where they're trying to bring that capsule back up and they have to do it in the right sequence to get the power back up. That's exactly what we're doing. Now, we're not going to the moon, but it's the same idea. It's a very methodical and complex process to be able to get that up safely and effectively.
And for investigators, we've had several people ask, why was the National Guard not brought in, or was that even considered at this point?
That would have to be deferred to the sheriff's office. They're leading the investigation on that. One more question with this young lady, then I'll make a closing statement. This lady here's got the last question, then we'll make a closing statement. Yes, ma'am.
The chief deputy indicated that the tip line has been very active. Can you elaborate on exactly what that means and how valuable that is to this investigation?
Well, I can't answer that for him directly, but what I will say, if anyone has any information that can lead to the arrest of the individuals responsible for this criminal act, we want them to reach out to that Moore County tip line. any tip that comes into that tip line is being researched, evaluated, vetted, and done for that. So we want them to reach out to the sheriff's office on that tip line at 910-947-4444.
And one more just about an impact. I know that aging services, they're not delivering meals to the elderly that rely on those meals. Is there any plan from the county to try to help those homebound seniors?
That I will have to follow back up with you through our PIO. Typically, how the Department of Aging Meals on Wheels program works, they do prepare meals for in the event that the customer or citizen cannot get to those during normal, like wintertime when we have storms. So these citizens were prepared for that, having those pre-prepared meals that they have stored that are they're available for them. But if you need some more information, reach out to our office and I will try to reach for it. But they did have pre-prepared meals at their house for them that had already been delivered for this year. The last thing I will say, as our time